I have sort of a strange update here for you guys in the Emmanuel Harrow case. As you guys know, over the weekend, law enforcement reported that Jake and Rebecca, Emmanuel's parents, law enforcement reported that they stopped cooperating with them. They stopped talking to investigators. They refused to take a lie detector test, and they lawyered up. Well, now we have heard from Jake's lawyer, and he's complaining that law enforcement isn't out there really looking for Emmanuel. He says that they're not really searching at all, that law enforcement is not doing enough. He also claims that Jake and Rebecca are being stopped from searching for their own missing son because law enforcement seized one of their vehicles. Law enforcement took their cell phones, took their laptops. He says that they don't really have any communication with anyone and they're being harassed. He also claims that they are actually cooperating with law enforcement, but no matter what, everyone is still viewing them as the villains in this story. But here is where things get kind of strange. The lawyer has now come out, and I'm going to show you this clip in just a moment so you can see for yourself. The lawyer has now come out claiming that they have a tip that Emmanuel was actually spotted somewhere, that Emmanuel is most likely alive, and they have a tip, but they can't act on the tip because they don't have a phone, they don't have a computer, they don't have a car. They say that they have provided this tip about this sighting of Emmanuel to law enforcement, but law enforcement hasn't said anything about it. And they don't even know if law enforcement is really following up with this tip. Now, I don't know what to make of this. I don't believe it, but I'm trying to figure out, what's their angle here? Are you just trying to cast more doubt? Do they think that this, provides some sort of, some sort of backup for their claims that they made about Emmanuel being snatched? I really want to know what their angle is here. But before we discuss that, let's go ahead and roll this news clip. Let's hear from the lawyer, and then I'll be right back with more.
We're hearing from the attorney representing the father of a baby who vanished from Yucaipa.
Authorities say the child's parents have stopped cooperating with investigators, and Mario Ramirez is live with the latest developments there. Mario.
This morning, I spoke exclusively with the attorney for Emmanuel's father, who tells a different story, saying the couple's been working with investigators, turning over phones, laptops, and passwords, all connected to the desperate search of their baby, who's been missing for nearly a week now.
Seem law enforcement is doing anything to find this child.
That message from the attorney representing Emmanuel's father.
He's holed up in his house with his family because they are not getting the support that they need. They have people trampling on their property. They have death threats being made.
The 7-month-old was reported missing by his mother, allegedly kidnapped on Thursday of last week in a Big 5 parking lot in Yucaipa.
Someone said hola to me, and that's all I remember. I woke up on this floor, panicking for my son because I couldn't find him. I looked around the truck. If you see anything or hear anything, please come forward. I'm begging you, please. Bring my son back to me.
Detectives now say Rebecca's initial story has inconsistencies, and when confronted, say she ended her interview, adding that Emmanuel's parents have stopped cooperating with the investigation. The father's attorney tells me that couldn't be farther from the truth.
I can tell you that Jake and his wife have not slept. They have not ate. They are doing everything in their power to try to find their son. The major concern at this point is, how do you find your son when law enforcement has your vehicle? Law enforcement has every way that you can contact the outside world. How do they participate in the search? They're limited financial means, and it's very clear that their own community is going against them without any definitive evidence that they did anything wrong.
Court records show Jake pled guilty to child cruelty charges in a separate 2018 case out of Riverside County. He's currently on probation for those charges after he was convicted and jailed in 2023.
He is currently on probation for that case. He did not serve 4 years in state prison as being reported. He reached that deal through a plea agreement, so he did plead guilty. He acknowledged his role in that situation, and there was more than one person convicted. None of that has been relayed through the media whatsoever.
Hughes tells me the family received a tip over the weekend, a possible sighting of baby Emmanuel out of Bakersfield, and claims that law enforcement hasn't followed up on it. Well, I checked this morning with sheriff's officials here in San Bernardino who say detectives have been made aware of that tip but won't comment any further, saying the investigation is ongoing.
Now, was Emmanuel really spotted personally? I don't believe so. However, that's what the lawyer is claiming. You have seen it for yourself. Now, my only question is, what's the angle here? Let's say this isn't true, because I don't believe it's true. Is this just a bogus sighting? Someone thinks they saw Emmanuel and they reported the tip, and the parents hopped all over it because they think that it will help cover up their lie, because they think that this tip may provide some legitimacy to the stories that they've told about what happened to Emmanuel? Or did Emmanuel's parents just totally make up this tip themselves? You know what I mean? Did they just make up this fake tip and tell their lawyer because they think that it backs up their claims or somehow makes them look better? I really would like to know. I would really like to know who exactly this tip came from. Is it an anonymous source? Is it someone who put a name and face on it? You know, I would like to know more details, because I don't believe that the kid was spotted at all. I just want to know, who actually made this claim. Is this a claim that was actually made up by the parents? Or is this a made-up claim that the parents hopped on because they viewed it as an opportunity to kind of take some heat off of themselves? Either way, law enforcement is aware of this tip, and I don't think law enforcement is really taking the tip that seriously, because despite having this tip, law enforcement still isn't out here on a wild goose chase. No, they're going back to the home, multiple times a day, talking to the parents, collecting more evidence, bringing dogs, collecting phones, taking vehicles. Law enforcement is honed in on these parents. And look, law enforcement is not going off of vibes and feels like a lot of us are. The moment we saw Rebecca, from what it looks like, fake crying on the news, we all said, hey, this does not feel right. This does not look right. This does not pass the vibe check, okay? Law enforcement isn't operating off of vibe checks. Sure, they can see the videos, they can hear the stories, and they can say, this doesn't add up, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't look right. But for them to be making the moves that they're making, they're not making these moves off of feels and emotions, okay? They got evidence. They got some evidence. And I think they may even have a significant amount of evidence, in this case, for them to be applying the pressure that they're applying on Emmanuel's family. Because I've covered plenty of missing kids cases. I've covered plenty of cases where the parents were actually the ones who did something to the child. I've never seen law enforcement so quickly just bam. Just law enforcement is like, we're not even really exploring all of these other avenues. Bam, we think it's the parents. So, yeah, we're going to continue watching this play out. If there is a possibility that Emmanuel was spotted, then law enforcement knows about the tip. So that's up to them to follow up with that. For now, though, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.